All right, how's everybody doing tonight? Welcome back to Comic Book Team Up with myself and John's Longbox. And tonight we have Don. He is going to be telling us about his upcoming book, which is Omega Mission.
Yeah.
And John, can you believe that this is number 50? We've done 50 of these already.
Wow. We did 50.
So,
So
yeah,
that
50 interviews. And
that's
that
50 weeks.
Yeah, it's 50 weeks, 50 weeks worth of interviews so far. So we've been doing this for quite a while. Don, we usually do indie showcases on either John's channel or mine for comic book showcase or comic book team up every week. So I want to thank everybody for being here. There's a couple of regulars here. We got Michael, Tony is here, Pedro is here. We got a whole bunch of regulars. What Geeks Do. Zach Dan is here. Warren the Archangel is here. How's everybody doing? So Don,
Sir.
now that we've got through the introduction of all of our little tidbits, what is Omega Mission? Tell us about it and when you plan to release it in 2025.
Well, I won't be released it until much later in 2025, probably late summer, early fall. I don't even want to think about releasing it until the book's about 85% done. I want all the interior art done completely before it even gets released or signed up or anything. That's just how I want to play it. I want to be sure that the product is going to be as close to 100% as possible, so there is no doubts. And if anything does happen to jam up the process, it won't be that big of a wait. If it is going to be a wait, does that make any sense?
Yeah, oh, that makes a lot of sense. I always used to think about the pattern setter for crowdfunding for me anyways was Richard Meyer, and he always kept on saying that you need to try and give the audience something that they're going to grasp onto, something that they're going to see in the future, and then you do the whole crowdfunding thing that way. But I honestly don't think that that's the way to do it. I think you're quite right that you need to have a majority of it done so that it's only a bump in the road to give that final push to get it out there and have a book in people's hands, because people are so used to crowdfunding now that they want a book within half a year or something like that. So I can see where you're coming from. And so you got a number of different characters I've seen that you've posted on Twitter. Tell us a little bit about your storyline.
The storyline is that metahumans have been a thing in my universe for a while, but unfortunately, it's gotten a little overpopulated, oversaturated with the metahuman population. So the governments have got it in the head. They're going to secretly start taking them out. They're going to control the metahuman population. That is where the Omega Mission team comes into play. They basically go out and they take care of it. And that was years ago. The story picks up about a decade or so after this has happened. And one of those individuals that they put down didn't really go down all that well. He's come back from the dead, and he's looking for revenge. And that's where the story picks up. It's a revenge story. It's a 90s style comic, sci-fi action adventure revenge style comic.
That's exactly what I was going to ask you next, because I follow you on Twitter. You post a lot of Rob Liefeld stuff, a lot of image kind of comics. Those are the inspirations, I take it, for what you're doing.
Oh yes, sir. That's my wheelhouse right there. I've always been a fan of comics, but I got out of it a little bit when I started getting into adolescence and stuff like that. You're a guy, you discover girls, that kind of thing. And when I was coming up, late 80s, early 90s, comics weren't cool like they are now. It was like, oh man, you read comics? You need some kind of.
Well, the joke's on you. I was never cool, so I never let.
Well, we all have dreams and aspirations, man. So anyway, got out of that, graduated high school, did a quick stint in college. College wasn't for me. I was way too independent minded, and that's crazy because I ended up going into the military anyway, where they're constantly telling you what to do. So being independent minded doesn't really matter. But long story short, I got back into comics late 90s, right as the image boom started to take place. And I had never seen a comic like Jim Lee's X-Men before. That like more serious artistic style. You know what I mean? Not.
Everybody loves that Jim Lee X-Men.
Yeah, man, I'm a sucker for it. And then
I had a friend that would just rip pages out in the comic book store when nobody was looking because he couldn't afford comics. It just
And once I saw that, it was so cinematic, all the detail. I was done. I was right back into it, sucked me in. I got the first 3 issues of the X-Men, the brand new one, and I just couldn't get enough. Next thing I know, they're launching Image, and you got Liefeld and Silvestri and McFarlane and all the rest of them, and it's just so much awesome. I'm a big art fiend. I love good storytelling is very, very key for me too, but art, man, if you want to get my attention, throw me some good art and then we'll talk. You know what I mean?
Well, one of the things day one that good art gets you to buy the comic book, I think, but good story keeps you interested.
One of the things that used to tick me off when I did manage to get to the comic book store is that I would go in there and I would see a killer cover. And I'm like, I want this book. And it would already be polybagged and everything. Get back to the boat, open it up. The artwork is shit inside. I'm like, come on, man, don't do that to me. Just don't do that.
Yeah, bait and switch.
And yeah, the story could have been like, Oscar worthy. I wouldn't give a shit. Once I see that crappy art, if I'm not into the art, I won't even read it. That's just the way I am. I guess I'm an art snob.
So let me ask you this: if the art is spectacular, say we got Jim Lee drawing and terrible story, would you still collect it? Would you still buy it?
Yeah, probably. Matter of fact, I have. Jim Lee, not all of Jim Lee's art. Not every comic that Jim Lee has done artwork on, or any of the other ones have been bangers. I mean, they've had some sucky ones. I mean, that whole Superman run that Lee did was not great. Even though Brian Azzarello wrote it, it wasn't the kind of story that I was looking for. You know what I mean? It was nothing like Hush. Hush was really, really good. Really enjoyed Hush. And now what
was your favorite 90s comic?
100%. I'm going to have to say, hands down, without a doubt, the first 7 issues of Wildcats and Spawn. The first 5 issues of Spawn. The first early runs of Spawn and Wildcats were my all-time favorites.
Yeah, I got to agree with you. The first 10 issues or so of Spawn were really good, but I think Todd McFarlane just couldn't stay focused or something.
Like when I first got Spawn, and the introduction is very good. You see this guy, he comes back from he comes back from hell. In case anyone hasn't read it, for the love of his life. I mean, that right there, is something else. And then his power was limited. He had that. Remember the meter, the Spawn meter.
That was my favorite part about Spawn. It's what hooked me in.
Yeah,
the more he used his power, it was like a Faustian
down. And then it makes you wonder, like, okay, what happens when he hits all zeros? Like that's going to be a killer story. And then somewhere along the line, like I'd read an article, probably in Wizard or Previews magazine or something like that. Todd had said that he would always do the story and art on Spawn. Nobody would ever take it from him. It was his baby.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't too long. I don't even think he made it a whole year. I could be wrong. Check my math. I don't know. But he didn't keep doing the art. As we all know, Capello took over, which was good, but I mean, it wasn't Todd. And he's even gone so far as not to write all of the issues either. And I don't know. I just kind of fell out of it. And it got a little, like weird with the alleyway and Cagliostro and all this other weird shit and the rat guy and
Well, I lost interest when they got rid of the meter, because to me
that was one of the big things too. When they got rid of the meter, I was like, okay, well, that was one of the big draws,
Right.
And then
it was this sort of that was
like all of a sudden Wanda is not that big of a deal anymore. Like all of a sudden she's going to hell too, or whatever. I mean, I don't know, man. I got out of it, and then I got excited a couple of years ago. An artist that I used to pal around with on digital webbing, John Boy Myers, he all of a sudden was announced he was going to be doing a new Spawn run. I'm like, oh shit, look, my dude John Boy, you're going to be doing something major. I saw the art. Spawn swinging this killer Final Fantasy looking sword. I'm like, yes, dude, this is going to be killer. And what did he do? Like 3 issues and he pooped out of it? I mean, come on, dude.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was it. It was like nothing. You even gave Spawn a mouth, with the fangs and all that. But anyway, yeah. And going back to my absolute favorite, the Wildcats, and when they teamed up with Cyberforce, that was fire, dude. The whole series of characters put together, and then you get Silvestri doing it on his side too. Dude, it was awesome. That right there was
all your favorite comics too, right?
No, not exactly, but I agree with the Jim Lee.
it was pretty peak for me. The Uncanny X-Men is my all-time favorite run. When Lee hopped on and did that, the Shi'ar, so right before he took that break, and then he went to not Uncanny, just regular X-Men.
Right. He launched.
I think Portacio took over after he left. I mean, it was still good. I like Will Portacio's artwork too, but that whole outer space run with the Shi'ar and all that, dude, that was dope as hell. I loved every second of it. All those characters together, those that one where you the double page spread where they're all like leaping at each other. I can't tell you how many times I would just sit there and just stare at that and be like, I want to be this good one day. I want to do stuff like this. This is what I want to do. That was the be all and end all of the comics for me, man.
I honestly think maybe I'm wrong with this, but for me anyways, I honestly think that for the X-Men movies that they have tried to again and again capture the feel of a Jim Lee comic. That's the vibe that they're going for.
Whatever
they tried, they failed.
Yes, they failed, but that's their 100%.
More of a Garth Ennis look, like the black leather and all that kind of stuff. Like he did that run with Ethan Van Sciver did the run with him for a little while.
Grant Morrison.
Yeah, Grant Morrison, that guy. Yeah. It was just it was okay. I mean,
I could go on and on and on the problems with the X-Men movie.
I was excited because it was an X-Men movie.
Right. I was excited, but
nothing had been done like that before. It was huge news. Most of the time, back in those days when you would read that there was a comic book movie coming up, it usually got stuck in developmental hell. And you would never hear another word about it ever again. You were lucky to get the Superman movie you got. You were lucky to get the Batman movie you got. Anything else was bullshit. Like that Captain America movie back in the 90s with the rubber ears.
I was going to say, you don't like rubber ears on a motorcycle helmet?
Yeah, forget about it. I actually saw that. I think it started back, Salinger. Somebody had a bootleg videotape when we was over there in Abu Dhabi, and we saw it. Even with the subtitles, it was terrible. It was bad. But the Red Skull makeup was actually pretty good for what it was,
Do you remember the Doctor Strange made for TV movie that was on once?
I remember hearing about it, and I think they had a picture of it in the TV guide because my mother, she knows that I love comics, and she would go in there and she was, well, look, they're going to have like this Generation X thing or whatever, or now this Doctor Strange, like the Daredevil and Hulk thing. Remember that?
Yeah.
Oh God. And Thor with the I don't know, PTSD, man. It just give me PTSD. Bad stuff.
Thor, he had like a furry vest. He was like a construction worker with a furry vest. Yeah.
Well, come on.
I'm very, very harsh when it comes to comic book movies. Like I want them slavishly dedicated to the comics. So the X-Men, I was excited, and then when I saw stills and previews, but once I saw that story was just so bad, and I like when it comes to a live action movie, I think the story is probably the cheapest element. I mean, you don't need, you just need a guy with a pencil or a guy with a typewriter and come up with a good story.
Well, dude, the story, even you talk about the 99 X-Men movie.
Yeah, it was terrible.
The story sucked balls.
Yeah.
They could have at least had the decency to start with the original 5 X-Men. Okay? But no, they got to throw Wolverine in there right off the bat. And, Jubilation's in there too. And it's just, I mean, it was good for what it was, but it wasn't what I wanted.
No.
It just wasn't what. And the whole set up with Magneto, and he's going to make everybody a mutant by setting off a powder bomb on top of the Statue of Liberty, whatever the hell he was doing.
Don, I know you and I were on a stream where I told you my rewrite for the X-Men movie.
Yeah.
Rick Rakeman's played the most comic correct version of Thor in the movie Listomania. I got to see that. That stars Ringo Starr as Liszt, the classical pianist. I always wanted to see that movie, and I forgot all about it. I didn't know Thor was in it. Now I definitely got to see it.
And I agree with Duck Bacon's comment. Rogue in the movies was just ass. It was not good.
Yeah.
She was an Oscar-winning actress. Yeah. She did her best probably with the material that was given to her.
Yeah, I don't blame the actors. She was miscast. I can't blame her.
And the minute they started calling her Anna Marie, I was out. I noped out. I was like, Rogue doesn't have a freaking name, dude. It's part of her mystery.
And Cyclops might as well not have been in it. You know what I mean? Like they did
Cyclops
nothing.
Was pretty good though. The guy, I'll give him that.
Oh, the actor was perfectly cast, but they didn't give him a good role.
No, they didn't. They just put him. They amped up Wolverine, man. They amped up Wolverine. They put everybody else to the side. That's all that was. Because they weren't stupid. They knew Wolverine was the most popular character.
Right. Even my normie friends know Wolverine. You know.
Right.
Yeah, they don't know. RJ, what would you say is your favorite like adaptation of a comic book into a movie live action?
Adaptation. Oh, geez, I'd have to. I can't honestly think of one off the top of my head, but I have to say, the Phoenix part of the X-Men movie, and not the movie itself. The movie itself was awful, but I kind of got emotional when Phoenix finally came out in that movie. You know, when she started walking off that ledge and the Phoenix Force took over Jean Grey, and I knew the movie was bad, but when I saw that on the big screen, I thought to myself, you know, I never ever thought when I was reading these stories I would get to see this on a movie screen. It was something that you know, got to me in the feels there when that one scene came up, because I was like you, Don. You never even told anybody you read comics when you were a kid, because you get the crap beat out of you or something like that.
I literally hit it. I was on a football team in high school, and I was deathly afraid of my football teammates knowing I read comics. And then when they found out, they were like, "Oh man, I love Daredevil. Oh, do you have any Wolverine?" You know what I mean? I hid it from them for no reason whatsoever. Thomas DeVries says Blade.
A couple of dudes that I hung out with, like 2 or 3, we all kind of like comics, G.I. Joe, that kind of stuff. But it was a very tight-knit circle. Everybody else was like jocks into football, that kind of stuff. Or they went hunting. Like there's a lot of hunting that goes on down here in the South. I don't hunt. I'm an animal lover. No disrespect to anybody that does hunt. Good for you. Do your thing. It's just not for me. And that was like, these were the cliques that were in school. You were either a jock, you went hunting, or you were like one of the not special retarded kids, but like the special gifted kids, you know, like in the top tier of the classroom. You had those going on, or a cheerleader, or you just weren't anybody. And I was one of the nobodies.
I remember in high school, or junior high school rather, I made friends with a kid. And we were hanging out. You know, back at junior high school, you say hello. 20 minutes later, you're best friends, and we're hanging out. And I mentioned Star Wars, and he went, "Star Wars? That's like that guy with the laser swords. I don't like that crap." And I was like, "This friendship is not going to last."
Yeah.
You know,
oh man, me and my dad. My dad took me to go see Star Wars, all the movies. And I actually cried when Luke lost his hand.
I didn't realize I was talking with 2 wimps up here. Jeez.
No, man. I'm
flying the Dark Phoenix, firing up Luke Skywalker. I never cried because I'm a man.
I got the feels, bro. I got the feels. I ain't gonna lie to you. But I mean, we would sit for hours. Like when Boba Fett got introduced, and Yoda said that classic line in Empire, "There is another."
Yeah.
That's back when you had to wait 5 years for the next movie to come out.
Yeah, we had 5 years of me arguing that it was Lando Calrissian.
Who is the other? Me and him were convinced Boba Fett was the other. We were convinced, man.
I was convinced it was Lando. I was like, it's got to be Lando. It's got to be.
I didn't think Lando. I always thought Lando was just a throwaway character. I never thought he was anything more than that.
He was cool, man. He drank Colt
Yeah,
45.
it was cool. He had a cape and everything, but I mean, he traitored him, man. He disrespected him. He turned him over to
Yeah,
the
well,
dark
that's
side.
what I thought.
And then he tried to
He
course
needed a
correct there at
redemption
the
arc,
end.
which he did.
Man, F that.
There we go.
You do me wrong. You do me wrong. You're going down.
Everybody was shocked and upset when they killed Optimus Prime. I heard so many people said that was like an emotional moment.
Well, I never got big into the Transformers.
Me
I had
neither. I was
my
too
cousins; they were huge. I stayed at my grandma's house for the summer, and they drugged me out there to see the Transformers movie, which was basically an hour-and-a-half cartoon. And at the time, I'm like 17, 18. I'm like, it's not for me. Just couldn't get into it. It was kind of, but I love the Transformers movies now. Those live action ones, they are pretty good. Even though the storyline is very loose and falls apart if you even closely analyze it, I do like the special effects, man. You can't beat that. That's good stuff.
My wife likes the Transformers movies.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to add this. Not a movie, John, but I think the best portrayal I've ever seen has been a short that they did for Punisher called Laundry Day. If you've ever seen it.
Oh, I
It
never
should
heard
be-
of it.
Thomas
No.
Jane.
Yeah, it's Jane.
Yeah.
Jane that does it. I mean,
caught on
that
YouTube
was
a
spot
couple
on.
years ago, yeah. He was a good Punisher. That was actually a decent movie. It was not even
They
close to
changed it too
following
much for my taste,
the
but he was
comic
good.
all that well, but he was still good at it. He was still good at it. I liked him.
Yeah,
I was kind of sad when I heard he wasn't going to reprise his role, but hey, John Bernthal's killing it.
he
though.
was excellent. They
John
changed the
Bernthal,
Punisher. They made him a little bit more sympathetic than I like, but he nailed it. He was. I think that Daredevil TV series, the first 2 seasons,
Dude.
are the best things that Marvel TV shows, movies put out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
most
agreed.
100%. That fight in the stairwell.
Yep.
Yeah.
My God. And they say they did it all in one take. One
Really?
take. Yeah. It was either the hallway fight or the stairwell fight. It was all
Yeah,
in one take.
there was a couple of good. Yeah, it was.
And then there was the fight where the Punisher's in jail. That was all one take too. So
Yeah.
I mean, that's just as crazy. And they're bringing it back. Born Again.
He was excellent as the Kingpin.
Vincent D'Onofrio, dude.
That was perfectly. That series was lightning in a bottle.
That dude kills every role he gets.
Yeah.
Every role he gets.
And if you watch The Walking Dead, the first season, if they listened to Shane, there would be less deaths. Shane was right the first season. Rick was almost the bad guy, but
We didn't like Shane though, man, because Shane
But-
was a punk. He was banging
in the
Rick's old
comics,
lady,
Shane
man.
is awful. In the
then
comics,
he
Shane
was-
is awful. But the
he
TV show,
was-
he was kind of right. It's
he
a new
was-
world there, Rick.
Yeah, he was a pimp on the show though. He was getting Andrea and all that kind of stuff.
Well, we got to repopulate the species.
He can try anyway. I don't know.
Live long and prosper. He was a Vulcan.
Carl.
So, Don, we kind of strayed, but I love straying. What would you say is the biggest inspiration on your comic? You already said 90s Image. Any Marvel?
Wildcats and X-Men, dude. Wildcats and X-Men, 100%.
That sounds exactly. It's kind of like my inspiration for my book. It was X-Men and JLA.
Yeah, I
wanted to
love
match
the
those
team
two things.
dynamic. I love having a bunch of different characters. I like coming up with their personalities, who they are, that kind of stuff. When I was getting back into comics and I'm sitting there reading all these the new X-Men, I immediately went right back to drawing. I'm coming up with my own team right there, and most of these characters are still with me from those days. I can't tell you how many different iterations that the name of the team has gone through, or even the characters have gone through. But it started out basically as a 1-for-1 ripoff of every character. I even had a Wolverine ripoff, a Cyclops ripoff, and I was just like changing their name. And then over time,
I'm just out of curiosity, what was their names?
Oh shit, man, I can't even
Like
remember.
the Cyclops, one eye, big eye guy.
No,
Big eye.
nothing like that. I mean, it was
know.
God. You're talking like 30 years ago,
Yeah,
and
but we all did that as a kid.
Forgotten on scrap paper,
Rip off.
Yeah, and just over time they evolved, and they started to, the life started to get breathed into them, and you play the adventures out in your head. You start writing little scripts that really don't ever really go anywhere, and then after a while, you get into comics. You start doing the work. I've been freelancing for quite a while, and I've always had this in the back of my head. This is what I want to do. I want to bring this this story out, this team out, because I think I got something good. I think I got something that people will resonate with and give a damn about and cheer and root for, that kind of stuff. Just, get into it.
And you're doing everything, right? You're writing, drawing, coloring.
Yeah, writing, drawing, banging my head up against the wall for wanting to do everything, the whole nine.
And you just did a cover for Vaughn Coleman, right?
I did a cover for Phenomenova #2. I did another cover for Phoenix Press. It's going to be
I didn't know that.
Scripture #4. I'm doing a top secret project for somebody else that I can't talk about right now, but it's 60 plus pages. So I'm doing that.
You doing all 60 pages?
Well, I'm just doing finishes, but that's all I can say. I might have said too much already. I don't know.
It's okay. Mark, I will say this. Told me that you were working for him. It's okay.
Oh, okay. Well, now you know. But I'm pretty excited about that. I officially got the job today. I did a 2-page test on it to see how I would do the last couple of days. Killed myself trying to get it done. So I was pretty happy with that. Yeah, Duck Bacon, top secret, really. See, I'm in your level of things now.
Me?
My boy Duck Bacon in the chat.
Oh, okay.
Duck Bacon's doing
I'm
top secret
stuff.
stuff.
Everything I do, I can't keep a secret for more than 8 minutes.
And I'm also,
by the way, RJ's social security number is 116.
I'm also wrapping up the colors and the lettering on James Lee's The Steins.
Oh, cool.
And as soon as I get that done, that book will become available too. And there's a few commissions I still have out in the wild that I'm trying to get done. I'm super busy, but I love every freaking minute of it. I have never been this busy in my entire career. Ever since I came to CG and this side of the fence, so to speak, the community has welcomed me with open arms. Yeah. People have seen my art. It's resonated with a lot of people. And, whenever I say, hey, my commissions are open, I never have gone without any kind of, yeah, dude, let's do
one of
something.
my books is successful. I want to do a follow-up book, and I want to have stories set in the 90s. And I was thinking of your art would be perfect for it.
Bring it, brother. I would be honored.
We're talking a year away, so
yeah. Well, I would be honored. You're another one that I would just love to work with because you know what's up.
I have to ask, Don, when looking at your art, do you take a lot of influence from Silvestri? Because you seem to have like the dirty lines of Silvestri kind of feel to how you draw.
My top 3 influences are as follows: Arthur Adams, Mark Silvestri, and Jim Lee.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
And me.
110%.
Good influences.
Yeah. I hate to disappoint everybody. I've never been the guy that does all the cheesecake, that kind of stuff, I tried. I can draw women that look halfway sexy, but I just can't. I don't know.
Well, man. John Buscema said he didn't draw beautiful women, and I still to the day I die, I'm going to disagree with John Buscema about his own critique. I'll never forget that issue of the Silver Surfer when he's fighting Mephisto, and Mephisto tempts him with the beautiful women.
Yeah,
that was the first time I felt like I had to hide a comic book under the pillow.
Well, I remember seeing Adam Hughes' stuff for the first time. Like, damn, I wish I could draw women like that. Just smack you in the face, sexy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you see something like that, and your caliber of work, it just makes you want to work harder. But I never really tried to do that kind of stuff. And honestly, no one's ever really asked me to. I think everybody knows my wheelhouse. I like the superhero action kind of stuff.
Right. But Omega Mission, it's superheroes, but like sci-fi at the same time. Would you say that?
Yeah, there's a lot of sci-fi elements to it. Yeah,
I mean, I guess people can make the argument that superheroes is sci-fi.
Yeah.
But that's why I love superheroes. Is like RJ, you have a superhero comic, the Valiant Heroes, but you're going to have a tie-in with fantasy in your Crom. Like it's set in the same world, but separated by time, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I love that about superheroes. You could literally, like, I'm going to pontificate for a second. Stop me if I talk too much. But like the Teen Titans, you had detective stories, you had space alien stories, you had sci-fi stories, you had supernatural stories, all on the same team because of the different characters, origins. That's why I'll never get tired of superheroes.
You
Like,
can get a little bit of supernatural elements in there too, like
oh,
with
there will be.
Raven.
Cool.
Raven, like, well, not my stuff. There's no super. Well, there might be a little supernatural. I don't know.
Oh,
I do have some undead, so I guess you could say paranormal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
They're not straight up zombies, but there will be an undead element to it.
Cool.
I honestly think what you just said, Don, about the women, that is a feather in your cap if you're going for something like Silvestri, because Silvestri told a story with his art. And it wasn't like, show the cheesecake, draw on the audience. It was, I'm telling a story. I'm a visual storyteller with the art. And that's exactly what he did. And that's how he drew people in and sold those books.
Yeah, it's like, I've been in the circle for a while now, and I've got a lot of friends that are in the business, indie mainly. I don't have a lot of professional friends, but whatever. And a lot of them, they get their business, their commissions, they do the cheesecake, and they make big money off of it. And they've messaged me and said, dude, you're wasting time. Do this cheesesteak stuff. You'll clean up. $200. These horny little nerds out here, they'll pay for it. But I don't know, dude. It's just not for me. I like to have the story element. I like to make the characters look cool. Like, I don't know, man. To each their own, I guess.
There's nothing wrong with a little cheesecake, but yes, I agree. There's got to be a story.
I can't do it. Like, I had to bow out of a project one time because it was like sex, a lot of sex. So I can't. I can draw that kind of stuff. I don't want to. And then there was actually one project I just flat out dropped out of, and the guy was like, well, what's wrong? And I paid him his money back. I'm like, you got a rape scene in here. I'm not doing it. I'm just, nope, yeah. That's not
you got to draw it here.
Yeah, that's not where my brain.
I don't want to have, in my heroic tales, it's all ages. I will have sexy women. I got Renzo drawn. Of course, there's going to be sexy women, but there's not going to be overt nudity or sex. It's not my scene.
Yeah, and in my comic there is, like I said, it's sci-fi superhero. It's not a whole lot of real world crap in it. There's none of the identity crisis that people are having today. There's no self inserts or anything like that. You're not going to see any of that in Omega Mission. It's just like basically you're cracking open an image book from the 90s that never really got published, and you're going to see it for the first time. I'm hoping that's what it could.
Are you going to draw feet?
I am going to draw feet, and I'm going to draw hands too.
Yeah.
And they
what was that image book? Shadowhawk? I can't remember who did that.
That was Jim Valentino. And
Jim Valentino
that was known for breaking the backs, and he had AIDS. I think he was the character that had AIDS.
Yeah, the worst origin for a superhero. He took like an experimental cure for AIDS and it turned him into a superhero. I'm like,
yeah,
I'd rather be Mr. Fantastic.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of self-inserts, if you can see that patriarch over there on the corner beating up Thomas Valiant, who's really weak, that's literally me. Yeah, I'm joking. I wish.
Hey, whatever works for you, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are you gonna have sideways double page spreads like they did?
Yeah. I would. I want to do like a. I want to do it all, man. I want to do it all. You want to challenge myself to draw the stuff.
I tell you, if I'm holding a comic book and I got to turn it, I'm done.
No, I'm not going to do nothing like that. Everything's going to be horizontal, like it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
I would love to be able to do like a quadruple fold out.
Oh, that would be
kind
fun.
Of thing, but that's probably going to be expensive to do. So probably not this time.
I was thinking of having somebody punch or a patriarch or somebody fight, and then having a page pull out, and then just having them like getting thrown through building, But that's
I want to do one good shot where the guy's getting punched, right? And like all of his teeth and his inner bits is all flying at you. That's some hard shit to draw, but I really want to do it. Haven't put it in the story yet. I'm going to find a reason. I'm going to do it.
So let me ask you then, do you have a conclusion and you're working towards the conclusion, or do you have a beginning and it's evolving as you write?
Well, this whole Omega Mission thing is not going to be like so many books are in our circle. It's not going to be a graphic novel of sorts. It's going to be a series, and it's going to be at least 5 issues long. And I'm capping the page count between 24 and 32. The print run's going to be limited, probably to about 250 each. It's not going to be. They're just going to be floppies, man. It's not going to be. They're not going to be big. They're not going to be thick. Nothing like that. It's just going to be like a regular thing. I'm going to keep the prices as far down as possible so it's affordable for everybody. And I want to get far enough ahead on the first issue so I have time. I want to build up the surplus. I don't want a big wait between.
You want to have a buffer.
Yeah.
By the time I launched my comic, I was about, I would say about 75% done with the comic.
Yeah.
And I still ran into a bump. So thank God I did that. You know what I mean?
I'm not going to be putting this thing out every month. If I could, right. I would. It'd probably be like every 3, 4, at most 6 months, which is a pretty big wait for a single
in this
issue.
Circle, that's awesome. That's.
Well, that's if you know how life is. It tends to get in the way. Things change at a moment's notice. You need money. You got to take on other projects to pay your bills, that kind of stuff. I'll do the best I can. That's all I can do.
Yeah. So, did I mishear, or did you say you went to school for art? Or
no, my plan was to go to school for art. I had been accepted to the Kubert School when I got out of the service, but I got in an accident and I was laid up in the hospital for quite a while. So that never came to fruition.
Yeah, I thought I misheard that. Sound Engraver is asking, is cheesecake mean not safe for work or something like cheesecake just means sexy girls?
Yeah, just sexy girls.
It just means sexy girl. If it's overly nude and stuff like that, that's beyond cheesecake.
Yeah, that's porn, dude.
Yeah.
It's another way to say it. It's just porn.
And Marcus says he's never seen you draw feet, so
Marcus hasn't seen me draw pretty much anything. Just a little bit of stuff we do on the studio.
Oh, that's right. You tell us about your show on Saturday.
The studio, 7 p.m. Saturday. Every Saturday, we're going to be doing our 8th episode, man. And we're growing every week. Every week. And we're up to 130 subscribers now. Woohoo on the channel.
This is Eastern Standard Time?
Eastern Standard Time. Yes, sir. Actually, we're 131 subscribers now. Look at that.
Nice.
And, Mama Donna, she's the big part. Say hello to everybody, Mama Donna.
Hello.
She's a big part of the crew. We got James Lee, who's there, Marcus Kellegrew, and Duck Bacon. They're my brothers in arms, and they do the show with me. Lately we've been drawing stuff while we talk and basically shoot the shit. We've been having guests on to talk about their books. We've had Justin Belmont on. Matter of fact, I'm going to be on his show tomorrow.
He's doing a show
tomorrow at 6 p.m. He's been on a few times. Tailland Studio's been on. We had Arvid Nelson on last week talking about his campaign. So, if you got I don't have a huge audience, right? But if you want to talk about your book or you just want to come by and hang out, draw, you don't even have to draw. You can just do whatever you want, man. It's just a space to hang out and have fun for a couple hours, man. That's really all it is.
Cool.
Yeah. We don't really have an agenda except just to have fun. It's the only agenda. And laugh.
So when do you think, you said late 2025, you think you're going to launch your comic?
That's what I'm shooting for now.
Okay.
That's what I'm shooting for.
Cool.
Doing everything yourself. I'm fast to a point. Okay. The thing that takes the longest for me, I can break down pages pretty quickly. So that's not hard. The thing that takes the longest for me is the script writing, because I'm also doing that. Mark Polton is going to be my editor. He's already
good.
Yeah, and Amanda B is serving as a creative consultant of sorts. Mama Donna always has the final word.
What?
You heard me.
No, I didn't.
I said Mama Donna always has the final word.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the boss.
But I'm doing the writing, the penciling, the inking. Usually I just do a quick breakdown, really quick pencils, and I'll go straight to inks when I'm doing my own stuff. I don't really tighten up the pencils. I just kind of do all that in the ink process. And then the coloring.
Excuse me.
Coloring is the other thing. Lettering is pretty easy for me. I
I
thought myself,
imagine working on everything by yourself has different problems than working with other people. You know,
well, I
'cause,
mean,
you
it
know,
all
I got to communicate with this person, and then this person may
Yeah.
be working on another project, so I got to wait a couple of days, and then I get this art, and then I got to send it out to get colored. Who might, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
you can do everything yourself. But then I imagine that
Well, see,
That's
when you're
gotta be a
doing it, okay, when I'm doing my own stuff and I'm drawing for me, my own story, what have you, I already know how I'm gonna do this bit of color. Like I kind of think about it in terms of story. Like I'll do this in post production, you know. I know like I don't have to fully pencil this part in because this is gonna be like a power blast or something like that. So I can plan ahead. I know how I'm going to do the lettering. So I don't have to refer to this guy over here and say, okay, you're going to draw this, but don't forget to leave this little balloon over here for that kind of stuff. That's one of the biggest benefits to doing it all yourself is that you got the inside track all the way, bro. You know exactly what you want and how it's going to be. You don't have to argue with anybody. But then again, the other problem is you can also flip on a dime. You know what I mean? The stuff will change. I have written a couple of comics and done all myself. And my biggest problem is I will not stick to my script. I will deviate. Now, I don't know if that's a big problem or not a big problem. For me, it can be a problem because I will have the script wrote out and I do the breakdowns. And then I like to do what you do when you write. You put it away for a little while. You come back to it in a few days and you go back over it again. And usually that's when
it's funny you said that. I do that too. I'll write and then I'll come back like a week later and I'm like with fresh eyes. I'm like, what is
the
this?
fresh eyes. You got to have those fresh eyes. I
Why?
do it with
This
everything.
makes no sense. Where am I going? Who
I do it
wrote
with
this
everything.
nonsense?
If I write any prose, I do it with that. Commissions, everything. I'll draw it, then I'll do something else, and I'll come back to it. I'm like, you know what? That head is crooked. That should be more of a 3/4 angle than a looking straight ahead, or they should be doing this over here instead of that over there, or just 6 one, half a dozen of the other. Yeah, you always got to go back and flip it, look at it, like in reverse, like they tell you, all that other kind of stuff. Yeah, that kind of stuff.
I got a really obscure question for you, Don, just because this is one of the things I'm always harping about. What does your color palette look like, and does it change from book to book?
Changes. I don't have a set color palette. I like bright, vivid colors.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I'm agree with you there.
Some people tell me that my stuff is a little oversaturated, and I tell them I don't care. Unless they're a paying client, and then I will try to do whatever it is they want me to do. But I like I said, the Image comics back in the day were bright, powerful colors that came across that page and smacked you in the face, and that's what I love. These muted undertones, they're not for me.
No, I agree. They ruin a book.
When I'm doing something for somebody else, even for myself, it does depend on the story.
Yeah.
Like you can do one panel and just make the whole damn thing red, and that will set the tone. Just throw in some highlights here and there, and you're done. It doesn't look like you've done much, but it will set the mood. It's all part of, like with James. I was doing one page for him, and I sent it to him. And I made like the whole thing red, and he was like, "That's very interesting. I like how you did that." So not everything has to be, the color of this and the color of that. Like the jeans are blue, make them blue. No, you have to go with the story on certain things. But yeah, dude, I'm a huge fan of bright colors. I love Kirby Crackle. I like the special effects. I love it all, man. I'm not scared to get my feet wet and experiment.
What do you think about thought bubbles?
Well, I haven't really used any. I'm not against it. I just have gone more to the modern sense of caption blocks.
Okay, what about you?
Like a narrative caption,
I use both of them. I always say never never discount any comic trick whenever you're writing or trying to put a story together, because use every last one you can think of in order to tell a better story.
Actually, the only I have used thought bubbles. I'm telling a lie. I was doing a newspaper strip a couple years back about a sick man that was living in his own little world. He had thought bubbles. So there you go. I did do thought bubbles, but not in a traditional comic book sense. I haven't done any thought bubbles, just like narrative captions, that kind of stuff.
That was going to be the name of my channel, Thought Bubbles.
That's a good name for a show, actually.
I was just thinking, again, going back to the colors, one of the things I went exhaustively through basically Marvel's Thor when I was doing my research for Crom the Destroyer, and I noticed something really interesting about how they use the colors there to tell the story. And it was almost every page they would have a red panel, nothing but a red panel. Almost every page, it's just like, and they tried to pull out the action from that and all those kind of things. Those are the kinds of things that I think you cannot do in any other medium besides comic books, and that's why it's unique, and that's why it is so great. If you ask me, the best for telling stories.
The colors that I have pulled a lot of tips and tricks from is Marte Gracia. I am a huge fan of his work. His X-Men stuff, his Avenger, everything that he has done, I have tried to steal a little bit from my own, I guess you could say, work. Little tips and tricks. He's a very talented colorist. That's not to say that I don't look at everybody's work. It just his stuff really stands out. He's got great superhero coloring.
Was he digital coloring, or was this pre-digital?
Oh, this is digital. He works in Photoshop. I work exclusively in Clip Studio. But I mean, just about everything you can do in Photoshop, you can do in Clip anyway, up to and including editing text. So, yeah, I love Clip Studio. Couldn't live without it.
Yeah.
I haven't used Photoshop since, 2010, 2011.
If you pointed a gun at me and told me to do anything in Photoshop, you'd have one dead John's Longbox laying on the floor.
Well, the thing that pissed me off about Photoshop was the when they went to the subscription model. It wasn't so bad at first because it started off like $19 a month. You could get this was like in the early days. You could just get Photoshop. And I think they gave you like Lightroom or Bridge or whatever, their little photo gallery app. And I actually had it as a backup in case I needed to do something else. And then it seemed like every time we turn around, they were increasing the price. And now they got this really slimy practice where if you try to get out of your subscription early, they hit you with like an astronomical fee. And I don't
really.
Shit, man. Yeah, I've heard a lot of horror stories. Like I think one guy, they were like, you got to pay like $3.99 to get out of the subscription because you're terminating your terms of service early and all this other shit. And the guy's like, what are you talking about? It's like $400. It's in the terms of service. I mean, it's retarded.
Wow.
This is not something that I would do or would partake in ever. Now, Clip Studio, man, it's one and done. And I've been using the same program since I bought it for $50 back in whenever they first come out with Clip Studio. I'm still on the first version. I haven't upgraded to number 2 or number 3 yet. It still works. I'm very happy with it. I got my brushes, I got my pens, I got everything I need.
So you still do traditional artwork?
Yeah, on occasion, but I haven't really done it in a long time. It's quicker to go. I was going to say
it's quicker to do digital, right?
Yeah, it's quicker with the digital. I draw. I dabble on occasion when I feel like I just got to have that pencil in my hand.
Yeah.
So you don't feel like you've lost touch.
Renzo draws my comic. He also draws RJ's comic, and he told me he has to work with digital because it's quicker because RJ takes up all of his time just to make unreasonable demands and causing problems.
Well, I mean, there is no more of a clear satisfaction than hitting that undo button. And not having
funny that you said that because I was up all night like, oh my God, I want to change this, but do I have the right to ask Renzo to redraw this? Do I have to pay him again? What's the protocol? I don't want anybody to be upset. So finally I said, look, I'm up all night. I got to change this. Whatever it costs, I got to change this. So I said, Renzo, he's like, okay. And we were chit-chatting. Yeah. And he's like, oh, it's done. And he sent it. How'd you do that so fast? And he goes, it's 3 taps.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what he meant by that until I asked somebody else, like, oh, yeah, he just tapped the layer away.
Well, now a lot of artists now, a lot of freelancers anyway, they kind of get a little butthurt behind making corrections. They'll like charge you extra for that shit.
Well,
I got a rule. I'll give you 3 for free, and then if you get a little bit crazy with it, then we're going to have to talk about some additional pricing here. But usually, I've been very fortunate in my career. I've only had a few nut jobs that have come after me. I had one guy. I don't
Only
want
a
to mention
few.
his name.
You look like the kind of guy that would be chased a lot. No offense.
Well, yeah, takes all kinds, I guess. But like, I thought I was friends with this guy, worked with him online, and then next thing I know,
it brings out the worst in people.
He just kind of fell off the face of the planet, you know. And then he came because I was in the middle of doing this stuff for him. Then he came back, and he's like, "You tried to rip me off, and I gave you this money and all." I'm like, "No, dude, that is not what happened. You disappeared, and the money's still here if you want it, and we
you
can
do
keep
a lot
on
of
doing it."
commissions. So, you know, if you know, I would love to hire you if all things go well, you know, to do a story. Now, I tend to write a script, everything, put it all there. This is what I want you to draw, you know, and I put it as much words as possible.
Yeah,
you know, not Alan Moore. Would that be something that you would like, or would that be something that would annoy you?
Oh hell, man, I can work either way. I write both ways. Okay, I write.
Yeah, well, you're writing and drawing your own stuff, so it's already in your head. But
yeah, well, normally what I've always done from jump since day one when I was writing my own material, I would always go into extreme detail, and I didn't stop doing that until this new script that I'm writing, because it occurred to me I'm the guy drawing it. I know what I want. I don't have to. Panel one, there's a pencil laying on the left-hand side of the desk.
Right.
It must be at a 90-degree angle. Show the wood grain, that kind of thing. Yeah, I ain't got to do all that. But I mean, I've had scripts like that. It doesn't really bother me. You know, I can follow directions.
Well, I'm of the opinion, like, make it so that, like,
but I'm not above the collaboration process where I will. Right. I'll communicate. You know, I'll go into the DM of the client or whatever, and I say, hey, got a thought. Instead of like having dude jump out of the balloon and guns ablaze and this kind of thing, what if we just had him, you know, do this? And then, you know, the guy will usually say, well, sketch it out. Let me see what it looks like. I'm like, all right, no problem. So I'll throw it together, send it back. Well, that's good. Let's do that. You know, with collaboration is key.
Renzo, like he likes it. RJ, do you feel the same? Renzo likes it when I give as much detail as possible. And then I'm doing another comic, Eddie is Doomed, with Oscar Crano, and he's telling me, no, that's not the way it's going to be done. We're going to do it like this. And I'm like, oh, that's a better idea. You know, so yeah. One's a total collaboration, and one's just like, you know, here's a script.
Yeah, I can do either, but I really like, you know, collaborating with the person I'm working with. I really like that.
Both of them are fun. I got to say, I'm enjoying both.
It's really cool because, you know, you get to know the guy or girl, you know, whoever, and you kind of form a little bit of a bond there, and it's a team effort. It's just fun, you know. Ideas coming out, meshing, rocking something, making something that wasn't there before exist, and that's too damn cool. Yeah. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here first. It's too damn cool.
It's too damn cool. Too damn cool for school.
I agree, John, that Renzo does like a full script, but I honestly think what you're talking about, it's kind of like, again, my mind is always stuck on Conan, but you know, those Conan books where they would give them to the inkers, and the inkers would just embellish because that was their layer that they put on it. I find for someone like Renzo, he does that. He's like, I give him a layer of story, and he adds another layer after doing mine. You know what I mean? Because he puts his own stamp on it, and I love the collaboration process. I've told stories many different ways and tried to write in many different formats, but comics is quite honestly the best thing I've ever done because it's collaborative.
Yeah, it is so fun. It can be fun. Sometimes it can be a real son of a bitch. Most of the time, it can be fun. When it's good,
the only time it was not fun was dealing with files and, you know, and
yeah, oh god,
formatting and stuff that involved computers that I'm no good. I'm like, can't
there goes my PTSD again, man. The first book I ever did, I wrote and drew this book for this guy, James Bethel. It's called Z Lunar. It's about this guy that hails from another planet. He's got like these gravity powers and all this other stuff. He basically told me to run with it. Just do whatever I want to do with it. I sent him the script. It was all great, all fine. I wrote it. I drew it. He loved everything I did. The problem came was when we got ready to go to print, and I had never done this before. I had everything in the correct dimensions, but all the word balloons were like falling off the freaking page, right? And he's,
Well, maybe
the word back from the printer.
Word balloons should be filled with oxygen. You probably filled the word balloons with helium and they drifted away.
Yeah, maybe. So I had to, that was a whole other, because I was like 30 some pages. I had to go back. Fortunately, everything was on its own layer. I do have a bad habit of going to the wrong layer on certain things. I can't tell you how many times in this house you will hear me say, God damn it. And mom will be like, what's wrong? I'm like, I'm working on the wrong layer again, because I'm stupid and I will not label my layers. Like I got this piece of trading card that I'm working on right now. And the only thing that's labeled is Omega Mission logo. That's it. Everything else is by the layer number. So I'm constantly having to look at my little windows in there. I still haven't learned after all this time.
Before I started working on my comic, what you said would have made no sense to me. And now I totally understand what you're talking about.
Yeah, but anyway, back to that story about the word balloons. It took me 2 weeks to finally get everything right. And then I sent it back to him. And then I had to redo it all again because I sent it to him as a JPEG file and not a freaking TIFF file. And I'm like, what the frick is a TIFF file? So now I had to figure out what a TIFF file was. Fortunately, in Clip, you can save everything as a JPEG, a PSD, a TIFF, a PNG, pretty much any kind of file format you want.
I paid for Michael T. Gilbert to do a cover. Here's my Michael T. Gilbert cover. And he sent me a high resolution TIFF file. I couldn't open it because I didn't know what a TIFF file was. Yeah. I had to find out, you know what I mean? Every step of the way, I realized stuff that I didn't know, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And one of the other biggest problem was I have never, up until recently, the last couple of months, I've never had high-speed internet at this house. And it was always, anytime I had to send a file to anybody, I had to pack my shit up, either on a tablet or a laptop, go up to the public library, which is a couple miles away, go in there, register, use the free internet, send it on out.
Yeah.
Because, 25 megabytes size,
chicken and have the chicken run down the neighborhood. I know.
Yeah, it was. But now, man, forget about it. I got the speed, baby, and it's all good now.
Yeah.
Got the speed.
Yeah. RJ says got to have those 300 DPI pics.
I usually work at 360. If I'm doing a super detailed page, I will go 600 DPI. And that's pushing it because my little M1 Mac Mini's like, what are you doing? Even I can't move that fast. I got to slow down just a little bit.
A year ago, I probably would have got mad at RJ Williams for saying something dirty to me. But now I understand what he's talking about.
Yeah,
I ain't sending you any DPI pics, RJ Williams, you pervert. Oh, that's a computer term. Okay,
keep your DPI out of my chat. What are you doing?
Yeah, it's amazing what I didn't know when I started.
Yeah. There was a lot I didn't know too, John. Believe me. Oh, you know what, Mom?
Steep learning curve.
Saturday.
Don, it sounds like you got to give her a couple of pancakes. She's getting cranky.
No, I'm trying to get waffle.
I took her to the ice cream place this afternoon. I got her a big ass mixed cone, and I got her some barbecues. I don't want to hear it. I splurged.
It was about time.
Yes, it was about time.
RJ, do you like barbecue?
I have so much steak in my freezer that I don't know what to do with it.
And do you like it with coleslaw? Because that's how we roll up in this house.
I didn't like coleslaw until a couple of years ago. Now give me that coleslaw.
Get the pulled pork on the bun. You throw some slaw on it. Mix it together, grab it, eat it. Some kind of good, baby.
RJ, did you hunt your own steak or did you?
No, my best friend's a rancher. I get some good meat for nice and cheap.
When I lived in Albuquerque, I went into some cowboy bar and the guy came in with an elk and brought it to the bar, and that was his bar credit for the season.
I think I got something on all y'all. I've had dog meat.
Oh God, don't tell me that.
I didn't know I was eating it. I was in the Philippines. These guys had been there before on the
And
boat.
they're all watching you eat. You know that's a bad move.
They take. There's
When
like
everybody's sitting around going, he's
There's
eating
five
it.
of us.
He's
It was
eating
our
it.
first
He put
time
that
there.
fork down.
It was our first time that they took us to a massage parlor to start it off with. So
We
were
we're
already
talking
on cloud
DPIs
nine.
now, huh?
Yeah. So we go to this little restaurant. Everybody's speaking Tagalog. I don't know how to friggin' say speaking Tagalog. It's not my native language. So I'm
Tagalog. Isn't that the name of those cookies the little Girl Scouts sell?
I don't know. That's the name of the language over there. I don't know.
I'm
they're like, I can't even read this shit. It's not even in English. It's off the beaten path. The whole Navy guys, we'll take you to the good spot. We won't take you to the stuff on, baby. We'll take you to the good. So we go there and everybody's speaking in native Philippine, Tagalog, whatever you want to call it. And I'm like, well, Chief, what do we get? And you're like, trust me, you're going to let us order for you. You're going to love this. So I get it. We're eating it.
You're making too many mistakes, Don.
This is what happens when you trust people that you don't know, when they're of higher rank than you, and you trust them with your life. Didn't taste fun.
I'll trust them with my life, but not with my dinner.
Dude, it didn't taste all that bad. It really didn't. I ate the whole thing. It tasted kind of like roast beef. Actually, that's what I thought it was. Yeah. And
me and my friend,
they didn't say shit. It didn't say shit. We're out and we're going back. We're leaving the restaurant, going out to the Ville, going back to the boat, and they start cackling. They're all like effing with us, and
they all ordered something else. That should have been your first clue.
You ain't dog, man. They start barking at us. We ain't dog, and then a couple of guys, look. I was like, okay, I ain't dog. I ain't proud of it. It wasn't that bad. Won't do it again. It's a nice, funny story to tell everybody. Yay.
My friend and I, we backpacked across Mexico years ago, and we just made it a habit of like, let's find like the dirtiest place to eat, And
there's
one place, it was set up, it was just a sheet metal on cinder blocks, and this woman just had a fire underneath that she was just cooking, and we were just like, more, and she's like, tripe. I'm like, yeah, whatever that is. It was sheep intestines.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man.
Yeah, you'd never eat the street vendor food, dude. Never, ever eat the street vendor food.
It was.
If it's not some weird ass animal,
in my defense, I was drunk on Dos Equis and what was the other one? Tecates.
Oh well, okay. You have a viable excuse.
That was a fun trip. So there we go. We strayed far from the light of God there, RJ. Sorry.
That's how we do it, man. That's how we do it.
I have a habit of I should start like a talk show and get like secrets out of like George Clooney and stuff.
He's got to come back to the country first. I think he's one of the ones that left, isn't he?
Oh well, no, and nothing of value was lost.
No, my life the world still turns, baby.
Yep.
All these ones that are leaving Twitter, going to what is called Blue Sky, and I think
they go to Blue Sky, and Blue Sky crashed, and now they're reporting like something like 4,200 abuse charges every hour or something. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, they're just a little butthurt. They'll get over it. They'll come back. They'll realize that shit. It really didn't matter, did it?
Well.
First, they got to realize they don't really matter. Once they figure that part out, it'll be okay.
Well, I just hope that the economy rebounds so that people have enough money for Heroic Tales #2, Crom the Destroyer, Omega Mission.
All jokes aside, the economy will rebound. It's just not going to happen right away. It's going to take some time. There's going to be a trickle-down effect.
You just made RJ Williams hungry. He's going to go eat. He's going to the Philippines.
Yeah. Stay away from the street vendors, RJ Williams. Stay away. If it's on a stick, especially, don't eat it.
Oh, my God, George. You talked about what you ate, and I didn't get as disgusting as George saying they use banana sauce instead of tomato sauce on their pizza.
That is true, bro.
I'm never leaving the United States.
Yeah, I don't know how to do it now. This is back in the 90s. I can tell you that for $20, I lived like a king for 3 days. I stayed in the finest hotel. I had lots of great stuff to eat. I partied out in the town. $20, man. 3 days, $20.
I went to Iceland, and they had pizza, and the cheese on the pizza was
Goat
was
cheese?
was cream cheese.
I've had goat cheese pizza. It
I had goat
does
cheese
have
pizza,
a bit of a different taste to
cream
it. It's a
cheese-
little more bitter. But
Me and my
other than
wife
that,
were looking at the pizza. We're just like, what are we going to complain? We're on another continent, you know. And it was surprisingly good.
Then when I was in the Gulf, man, we didn't get a lot of shore leave, so it didn't really matter. But it's not like it is now. You go to Abu Dhabi and Dubai now, you see the skyscrapers, the playgrounds, all that shit. There was none of that there when I went there. It was freaking maybe a road and a bullshit bar that served Foster's beer, which sucks.
You don't like drinking.
Everyone
you don't like
else
drinking beer out of
for
an
their
oil
shitty
can.
beer, but it's terrible. What's that?
You don't like drinking beer out of an oil can.
No, not even close. We got to see the Saudi Prince's yacht. We were on the way back to the dock, and we saw the Saudi Prince's yacht, which puts aircraft carriers to shame. That was the most modern thing we've seen there. Now it's completely different. I can imagine if you go there now, it's got all this shit to do. But I mean, there was nothing to do, dude. It sucks so bad. We went to the camel races. That wasn't fun either. We went to go. And those things are nasty and they smell.
Yeah, no one in Don's conversations. He say we went to the camel races, then we had dinner. We ate the loser.
Might as well. It might have been more fun. Horrible shit, man. I did buy a bunch of bootleg videotapes and audio tapes. Yes, I said audio tape. That's how old I am.
I'll tell you how old I am, John. I hooked up my stereo there a couple of weeks ago because I just got sick and tired of all this digital stuff. So I hooked up my stereo and I hauled out the CDs and the tapes, and I'm using them once again. And I even just made a mixtape there, like probably 3 weeks ago.
Dude,
RJ's gonna put on his Cavaricis and put the fade in his hair. You know, snap his collar, and
Yeah, I saw something on the
Do the
Google
robot-
timeline. I think it was yesterday. Some CDs, actual physical CDs. I'm assuming they got to be in damn near perfect condition. Selling for like thousands of dollars on eBay now, which kind of ticks me off because I had a really good collection of CDs. I no longer have.
Upstairs, I have a bookshelf that's still filled with CDs, but my CD player broke, so I got to get a new CD player. But I've been playing vinyl. I broke my vinyl out, and I've been playing all.
Where you got room for all this stuff, man?
What's that?
You got all the comics and games and CDs. Do you have any room to live in a house?
You see, I got my TV and I got my stereo set up over there. You can see boxes of comics that I got to send out. And then upstairs, we have a guest room, but the guest room is just wall-to-wall bookshelves. And one of the bookshelves.
You got to have GPS to get around your house, don't you?
No, it's a small house. I'm making it sound like it's.
I'm just busting your balls.
We got upstairs. There's 3 bedrooms. My wife and I. She uses 1 bedroom as her work office. Then we got this tiny little room with filled with bookshelves and a pull-out futon. So whenever you come down, whenever you come, your mom gets the futon, you get the floor. Sorry, that's the rule.
Well, you know what? I slept on rocks before. It'll be all right. It'll be.
But I joke, but I'm not joking. If I hit $100,000 on my campaigns, I'm flying RJ out. I'm flying everybody out. We're gonna play role playing games all weekend. And
so you get $100,000 on your campaign. Do something to celebrate at least.
Right. And RJ's gonna wear that shield as a mask, so nobody gets to see him.
We'll start a new Comic-Con.
Yeah, I don't even want to know RJ. I don't want to see what he looks like. I've been talking with him for 50 weeks. This is our 50th episode, and I still don't know what he looks like.
Just the shield shows up at your house. It's got little legs at the bottom of it.
I have a mental picture of RJ, and I'm sure it's completely wrong.
It's just an avatar.
He doesn't exist. He's computer generated.
It's just an avatar.
Yes, I am an AI. Yes, I am an AI that exists somewhere in cyberspace.
He looks like Gary Coleman. He's like a little black guy, and he just uses filters.
Nah, filters.
No, I think RJ is really a Bigfoot that's using a computer to translate the growls into English. That's why he had steak. He didn't say it was human steak. I mean, he didn't say it was cow steak.
Well, Don, we like to keep it at an hour so that we can leave everybody wanting more. So if you want to give a plug for your upcoming book and tell people what it is that it's going to be about one more time, so anybody who came in late can go over, first of all, to your YouTube, which we have listed in the description, and his Twitter is listed in the description as well if you want to go over and follow Don.
Yes, follow me. Just don't follow too closely because sometimes I stop suddenly.
Don't want to follow the part.
All right, Mom, damn. Omega Mission. If you dig 90s comics, if you love sci-fi, if you like action with a little bit of paranormal peppered in, and a sweet revenge tale with some undead villains fighting superheroes, be ready. Late 2025 is coming at you. It is in the works right now. You're going to love it. From the same vein as Sylvester Lee and Arthur Adams. The studio comes at you every Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on my channel, Don Draw Stuff, at the youtube.com. We got James Lee, we got Marcus Kellegrew, and we got Duck Bacon, and we got Mama Donna, because everybody loves Mama Donna. We have to hang out, have a good time. We talk comics, we talk shop, we draw, we bust each other's balls. James shows off all of his good stuff. Marcus talks about all the stuff that he does. Duck Bacon likes to show everybody up with how awesome his art is because he always wins the art contest. It doesn't matter what. We ain't even have a contest. He still whoops all our asses. But it's all good. It's all good. And he won't show himself. Mom's very nice. She wants him to show his face. And he said that he will when he gets a proper setup. But anyway, the channel is the show is always growing. We're averaging about 70 to 80 views every time when we post now. The week before last, we topped out final views 125, I think it was. And I couldn't be happier. It grows a little bit every week. I'm super excited about it. But honestly, it's not about the numbers game. It's about the content game. We're just trying to give you some really cool content that you can relax.
It's a fun hangout.
Yeah. Just a good time, bro.
Don, for almost 2.5 years, I had 86 subscribers.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? I was talking to, like I say, I was talking to the Vapors. It literally wasn't until RJ took a liking to me that blew up my channel. So,
well, my channel
was
dead for a long time.
It's RJ's fault.
I think I had like 11 subscribers for a couple of years because I wasn't doing anything with the channel. And then I finally got the high speed and decided to do it. And then we went up we had the 100 celebration stream, which brought in quite a few more viewers. And then it just kind of has taken off from there. And now, like you said, he brought up the screenshot. We're at 131, which last time I saw, we was at 129. So I'm super psyched. I'm excited.
Cool.
But again, not about the numbers, man. It's about the content. That's what it's really about. Just putting good stuff out there for people to check out and jam to.
And giving Donald a hard time.
Yeah. No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
So
if you want to check out, is you gonna say, John?
I said, could Donna still punish you, Don? Because if so, you better listen.
She wants to think she can.
I know I can.
But I'm her chauffeur. I carry her to the doctor's office. I don't physically carry her. I drive her everywhere because her eyesight's not that great. I'm
old.
I got her hooked on ER. We're watching that. I take good care of my mama. She's my mama, man. I mean, look, it's like this. I got to do something for her because when I got hit by that truck and they sent me down to Duke University, they had my ass out on the gurney in the hallway. They weren't even going to work on me, man. They were just another dead body. It was like another dead body. Ain't worried about this guy. Her and Dad come down there, and she raised complete and holy hell and told him to get to work on her son. So she basically saved my life. So I kind of owe her a little bit. Yeah. She's real quick to throw that F word out there.
All right. Well, thank you very much for introducing us to your channel and to your characters.
Thanks for having me on, bro. Appreciate it.
No problem. I always like to expand the number of people and we have on this channel. We're just building our own little network because that's what we need to do for the future. We want to work off of each other because everybody's working in the same direction. We all just want to make good comics.
That's right. Piggyback on me, baby. It's all good.
Yep.
I will carry you to the horizons.
All right. Well, I want to say thank you very much to John, too, and everybody in the chat for showing up. And we will be on John's channel next week, and I will be doing my normal Make Comics Great Again after that. So I will see everybody either next week or on my Saturday video. Thank you once
Hail to
again
the
to the chat. Thank you once again to Don and to John.
Thank you,
And
sir.
I'll have to say, just as a closing remark, Zach Dan, you better watch your back. You're getting a little too close to the truth there. So.
Oh,
All right, I'll see y'all later.
Take it easy, bro.